TED Talk. What would happen if everyone stopped eating meat tomorrow? Let's explore a hypothetical together. There are over 4 times as many livestock as people. Farms cattle alone weigh nearly 10 times as much as all white mammals combined. So imagine if a wizard of meatless lightning suddenly appeared and with one wave of wand waved away from amidst our shop, along with any desire to eat it. Farm animal dustbins for food vanish, whisked away to another planet. What happens in the following days, years, and even millennia? Overnight, food-related greenhouse gas emissions drop by about 63%. We no longer get protein and key nutrients from the approximately 7 billion chickens, 1.5 billion pigs, 300 million cattle, and 200 million tons of fish and shellfish processed for consumption every year. To help fill this nutrients gap, our demand for fruits, vegetables, and legumes go up. A diet that most dietitians agree contains all of the nutrients we need for a healthy life. But initially, there aren't enough of these foods to go around. The rise in demand causes purchase costs to soar. In regions like Mongolia, where the harsh environment makes it difficult to grow vegetables, a sudden lack of meat lead people would lead to it. Culture based on raw meats lose their foundations. Members of salmon-eating tribe in the Pacific Northwest United States, for example, lose not only sustenance and livelihoods, but inner-group companies of their religion. Tens of millions of Anglo lose work that was already threatened by dwindling fish populations. As the meat industry collapses, many households in developing countries are left scrambling for income that once came from livestock farming. Some meat producers shift to agricultural crops, which leave workers and neighboring communities less susceptible to respiratory disease associated with the livestock production. As crop agriculture expands, prices come down. Ultimately, vegetarian becomes less expensive than meat eating in most countries. Luckily, we don't need to clear new farmers to grow all the food. Without animal wages for meat, land has been used to grow feed is now available. All things considered, our new diets require less land and water. Millions of deaths are avoided every year, thanks in part to lower rates of heart disease, cancer, and other conditions associated with red meat consumption. We no longer contrast new pathogens from wild animals hunted for food, or novel infectious viruses from farmer pig, or drug-resistant superbugs that develop in beef cattle that has been preemptively fed antibiotics. As years pass, global biodiversity rises as habitat loss, pesticide use, and other pressure from agriculture subside. Indigenous birds has more forests to fly over. Fewer cheetahs and sharks for stocking too close to livestock. Bee, wasps, and butterfly community thrive as natural area expand. In turn, insect pollinators crop produce higher yields. Many ocean species rebound for overfishing. Throughout the history, humans in traditionally vegetarian regions has evolved a generic nutrition that helps them more effectively process fat from fats. So over thousands of years, our body meat evolves to make the most of our veggie, or we mainly lose some adaptation, like the ability to extract iron from meat. Of course, a wizard will not turn our world meatless. There are many individuals are choosing to go vegetarian. Globally, meat eating is still on the rise. These trends spell trouble for our climate. Even if suddenly stop burning fossil fuels, business users food stamina, paired with the growing population, would push global temperature above 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Cattle are biggest culprit. Beef reduction are responsible for over 60% of all food-based emissions, while only providing around 18% of the world's calories. In fact, diets containing modest proportion of meats like chicken often produce less greenhouse gas than vegetarian diets high in dairy. Reducing beef, cheese, and milk consumption could go a long way towards achieving many of the benefits of a meatless world. No magic required. Last. Let's explore a hypothetical together. There are over 4 times as many livestock as people. Farming cattle alone weigh nearly 10 times as much as all wild mammals combined. So imagine if a wizard of meatless dining suddenly appeared and with one wave of a wand wiped away all meat from our shelf, along with any desire to eat it. Farmer animals desperate for food vanish, whisk away to another planet. What happened in the following days, years, and even millennia? Overnight, food-related greenhouse gas emissions dropped by about 63%. We no longer get protein and key nutrients from the approximately 70 billion chickens, 1.5 billion pigs, 300 million cattle, and 200 million tons of fish and shellfish processed for consumption each year. To help fill this nutrition gap, our demands for fruit, vegetable, and legume go up. A diet that most dietitians agree contains all of the nutrients we need for a healthy life. But initially, there aren't enough of these foods go around. The rise in demand causes produce costs to soar. In regions like Mongolia, where the harsh environments make it difficult to grow vegetables, a sudden lack of meat leaves people with little to eat. Cultural bits around meats lose their foundations. Members of salmon-eating tribes in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, for example, lose not only sustenance and livelihoods, but inner-group components of their religions. Tens of millions of anger lose work that was already threatened by dwindling fish populations. As the meat industry collapses, many households in developing countries are left to scramble for income that once came from livestock farming. Some meat producers shift to agricultural crops, which leave workers and neighboring communities less susceptible to respiratory disease associated with livestock production. As crop agriculture expands, prices come down. Ultimately, vegetarian diets become less expensive than meat eating in most countries. Luckily, we don't need to clear new farmland to grow up old food. Without any more wages for meat, land has been used to grow feed is now available. All things considered, our new diets require less land and water. Millions of deaths are avoided every year, thanks in part to lower rates in heart disease, cancer, and other conditions associated with the red meat consumption. We no longer contract new pathogens from wild animal harmed for food, or novel influenza viruses from femur pigs, or drug-resistant superbugs that develop in beef cattle that then preemptively fed antibiotics. As years pass, global biodiversity rises as habitat loss, pesticide use, and other pressure from agriculture subside. Amazonian birds has more forests to fly over. Fewer cheetahs has shot for stalking too close to livestock. Beef, watch, and butterfly community thrive as natural area expand. In turn, insect pollinates crops produce higher yields. Many ocean species rebound from overfishing. Throughout history, humans in traditional vegetarian regions have evolved to generate vegetation that helps them more efficiently process fat from plants. So over thousands of years, our bodies may evolve to make the most of our veggies, or we may lose some adaptation, like the ability to extract iron from meat. Of course, a wizard will not turn out work meatless. Though many individuals are choosing to go vegetarian, globally, meat eating is still on the rise. This trend spells trouble for our climate. Even if we suddenly stop burning fossil fuel, business or usual food system paired with the growing population would push global temperature over 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Cattle are the biggest culprit. Beef and dairy production are responsible for over 60% of all food-based emissions, while only providing around 18% of the world's calories. In fact, diets containing moderate portion of meat, like chicken, often produce less greenhouse gas than vegetarian diets high in dairy. Reducing beef, cheese, and milk consumption could go a long way toward achieving many benefits of meatless world. No magic required.